My grandson didn't invite me to his graduation. The day I had dreamed about for 18 years came and went, and I wasn't there. No seat saved, no phone call made, not even a text. I found out by accident from a neighbor who asked why I wasn't dressed up for the big day. That evening, I sat in the parking lot of the high school, hidden among rows of cars. Through the gym windows, I could hear the muffled sound of applause. See flashes of camera lights. Families laughed, cried, hugged, and shouted their children's names with pride. I clutched a small wrapped box in my Lapa shirt I had carefully picked out for my grandson to wear in college. My hands trembled as I held it, not from age, but from the ache in my chest. I thought about walking inside, slipping quietly into the back row, but the fear of being turned away, or worse, of seeing my family pretend I wasn't there, kept me rooted in place. When the ceremony ended, I watched as graduates spilled out of the doors, caps tilted, gowns swishing in the summer air. Parents rushed forward with flowers and gifts, snapping photos that would hang in frames for decades. I stayed quietly in the background like a forgotten page in a family album. And then, almost without thinking, I did something I'd never imagined. A boy I didn't know, one of Daniel's classmates, walked past me, his tie crooked, his eyes bright with relief. I stopped him. I pressed the envelope with a $100 check into his hand. "Congratulations," I whispered. His face lit up with gratitude, the kind of gratitude I had longed to see in my own grandson's eyes. He thanked me again and again, walking off with a spring in his step. That night, something inside me cracked. But in that crack, a light crept in. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, love and kindness weren't meant to stay trapped within the walls of family alone. Before I tell you the rest of my story, I want to pause to thank you for listening. Sharing this isn't easy, but knowing you're here makes me feel less alone. Please tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. Love picturing the cozy corners of life where my story finds you. And if you'd like to be part of this circle of women sharing wisdom and strength, please subscribe. That little gesture means more than you can imagine. Now, let me take you back to where this journey truly began. I grew up in a mill town, where the factory whistle decided when you woke and when you rested. My parents taught me that dignity didn't come from money. It came from keeping your word, working hard and caring for your neighbors. I carried that into my own life when I married Walter. He was steady, with broad hands that smelled faintly of cedar and engine grease. We raised 2 children together in a little house with peeling paint and azaleas that bloomed each spring. Walter died too young. The mill took his health and black lung took his breath one winter morning. I was 53 and the house felt cavernous after the funeral. Still, bills needed paying and children needed stability. So I took on double shifts at the clinic. My body hurts, but I never let it stop me. My hands, though swollen with arthritis, kept cooking, scrubbing, writing checks for field trips, and tucking money away in envelopes marked future. When my first grandson, Daniel, was born, I felt all of it. The sacrifices, the nights I worked through exhaustion finally made sense. I held him against my chest, tiny and warm, and whispered, "I'll always be here for you." And I babysat whenever I was asked. I stitched his torn jeans, baked his favorite pies, and cheered at his football games until my voice was hoarse. I slipped money into cards, even when my own purse was light. His laughter was my music. So when his graduation was neared, I thought, of course, I would be there. But I wasn't. Melissa, my daughter-in-law, posted photos online. Daniel grinning in cap and gown, arms around his parents, smiles so wide you'd think the whole world was perfect. I wasn't in a single frame. That's the cruelty of invisibility. It makes you question whether you ever mattered. One afternoon, as I pulled weeds from my garden, my neighbor, Ada, leaned over the fence. "You look tired, Ruth. Come have tea." I went and I told her everything. She didn't pity. She didn't scold. She listened. And in her quiet presence, I felt seen again. It dawned on me that family isn't only the people who share your blood. It's those who show up, who remember your worth. Who pour tea when your hands shake too much to pour it yourself? I joined the senior center, volunteering to help others with Medicare paperwork. I baked pies for church fundraisers. I donated small checks to students whose parents couldn't afford caps and gowns. Each act became a stitch in the quilt of my healing, and slowly I realized I wasn't invisible. Not to the people who truly mattered. Months later, Daniel came to my door. He stood taller, his voice deeper. In his hands was the shirt I had bought for him, still in its box. "Grandma," he said quietly, "I didn't know you weren't invited. Mom said you were too tired to come." My heart twisted. I told him the truth, that I had waited, dressed, gift in hand, ready to cheer. His face fell, shame washing over him. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I should have called you myself." I pulled him into my arms, holding him tighter than I should have. Forgiveness doesn't erase the hurt, but it keeps bitterness from ruling your heart. We, the women who gave our hands, our backs, their lives to build families, are not defined by whether someone saves us a seat in the bleachers. We are defined by the love we've poured into this world, the resilience we've carried, the ways we've shown up even when forgotten. If you've ever felt invisible, hear me now. You are not. Your worth is not measured by an invitation. It's measured by the lives you've touched, the kindness you've given, the strength you have carried. At 72, I still bake pies. I still laugh with Ada over tea. My steps are slower, but my spirit is stronger. And Daniel, he visits now. We don't talk much about that graduation night. We don't need to, because love, once planted, leaves roots that even neglect can't kill. So let me leave you with this. Don't measure your worth by who claps for you in the crowd. Measure it by the quiet acts of love you've given, the seeds you've planted, the kindness you've passed along. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt left out of a family moment? How did you find your strength through it? Share your story in the comments below. It might be the very encouragement another woman needs. If this touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Together, we are weaving a community of women who remind one another it's never too late for growth, joy, or connection.